Many people believe that the human instinct is something very important for survival. It prevents us from committing dangerous acts and enables us to use the human reflexes that we possess. Some people even believe that we should follow our gut feeling when making decisions in life. However, to what extent can we trust our instincts? Is it wise to follow our heart rather than our reason? Although this may be a controversial subject, it is fair to say that the human instinct has shown to be of great credibility in certain situations. Many have even saved their own lives by following their instincts, such as in the case of the story of a self-discovering victim of colon cancer, mentioned on O Magazine. So whether you choose to go for your gut instinct or simple rational thinking, as long as the outcome is positive, that's all that really matters.
Good evening and welcome to Finding Answers. Tonight we are going to be talking about gut feelings or human instincts. How much can you rely on your human instincts? Everybody who is watching me now has had either a good or a bad experience in regards to following or taking actions based on their human instincts. When we talk about following our gut feelings, some people see their gut feelings as their conscience. Others may regard their gut feelings as their own emotions. And then we've got this endless conflict between emotions and rational thinking. Now, which one is best to follow? What type of person are you? Are you a person that is more of an emotional attitude, or you're someone that is kind of more of a rational person? You know, you think well before making decisions. You're quite analytic about your points. You like to study a lot to take a course of action, or you are someone who simply take action based on what you feel at that very moment. Have you ever been in trouble because of that? Well, I have here with me tonight on the show Lisa. Good evening, Lisa. How are you?
I am very well. How are you?
I am fine. Thank you. Lisa, human instincts. That's Finding Answers' topic for tonight. What do you have to say about this topic?
Well, when we talk about human instincts or going by your gut feeling, what indicates that you actually know what to do or even to do anything? Well, psychologists say that it's not just knowing that we get stuck, but subconsciously we always know if something is right or wrong for us. It's an innate instinct that we are all born with, but it's how well we actually trust what we know and whether we are willing to trust it enough to actually act upon it. So I think a few people would argue on this point whether we actually do know what to do or not, but it actually in fact is something we are all born with. What made you decide to be where you are in your life right now, and how do you know which decisions to make for you? Well, the thing is, it's actually intangible, so it's a feeling and we cannot see it. We all know our limits and what we are capable of, and what we should know what to do. So in the case of actually having a gut instinct, we all have it and we all know what is best for us, but we doubt ourselves. We wonder, what if I'm wrong? What if something better doesn't come up? So this could happen within a job situation, we're offered something to us, we may, feel that we might be able for it, but how do we actually know? It's important to understand that you can never make a wrong decision, as you can always right your decision. That's what I think anyway, down the line. If there is an opportunity presenting itself to you right now, it means on some level that you are ready for it. So I think we go through life and different obstacles come in our way. However, different opportunities are offered to us also. And in that case, if an opportunity is offered to us on some level, we are actually ready for it when you think of it. So most often it's not knowing that is the case, it's about trusting what you know and trusting that gut instinct. And again, doubting your own doubts. So in either case, it actually always starts with us.
A lot of people, we've got plenty of examples in the media of a lot of people who follow their gut instincts and they save their own lives. They got themselves out of trouble, or they got themselves out of a potentially hazardous situation that could ended up very badly. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, up to a certain extent or up to a certain point, I think it's reasonable to follow your gut instincts. Mm. For instance, when you are trying to get into a relationship and, you start getting to know that person and all of a sudden, you can smell a rat. You can sense that something is not right, and then your instincts say, "Oh, you better get out of this relationship." But some people, others might say, "No, let me give it a try," and that's when the problem is, isn't it?
Exactly. And in the case of even entering into a relationship, following your gut instinct is always nearly enough the right thing to do. Sometimes you actually can detect the warning signs or the red flags. But not even just in a case of a relationship, I think even in situations such as career-wise, even in your relationships outside the family, you can nearly always detect, if something is right or wrong for you. You know yourself.
The good thing about faith is that when you rely on faith, you will never be wrong. That's the advantage. When we rely on our gut instincts, we might be right, we might be wrong. It's 50-50. There is no absolute guarantee that we are 100% on the right side, that we are doing the right thing. Now, when we rely on intelligent and rational faith, which has nothing to do with religion, with church, with congregation, with rituals, with philosophies, forget about all this. We are not promoting a religion here. We are talking about an intelligent faith which brings results. And I'll show you now the story of Chris Brown. This man who had 4 major losses. He lost his friend. Soon after he had lost his friend, he lost his, mother, father, people who were very close to him started dying all of a sudden. And it was really hard to take. But faith made him overcome all that. Watch now.
I was experiencing a lot of bereavement. I had a very good friend of mine who some guys jumped him, they stabbed him in the throat and he died. Not long after that, later on then, my grandmother passed away. 8 months after, 9 months after, then my mother passed away too. That one really rocked me because that's the first person you know in your life. And then just about 8 months after that, then my dad died as well. Now, taken from there, that I've lost all these people, and then after the relationship I was in broke down, and I had a young one who was abducted to another country as well, so everything had crashed. On top of that, it just got worse, where I lost my job, I had no finances, losing where I'm living. A dear friend of mine who was quite close, we walked down to, it was Dalston actually, and it was the market. When I entered the market, there was a group of people there, and what happened was, one of them particularly handed me this newspaper, and when he handed me this newsletter, something inside me said, look, why don't you go and have a look? So I went, and I saw a lot of people screaming and praying, and I thought, this isn't really for me at the time, and I left. But I left there with a massive headache and still not right, and things kind of got worse. And it came to the point where you've got nothing to cling to. But I remember when somebody else, I was having a battle, I was with a solicitor, and he turned to me and he had his book there, and he closed his book and he said, Mr. Brown, are you a man of God? And I thought, let me go back to that place and have a look. From the moment I went back to the church, my whole life changed. I was being counselled by one of the pastors there who advised a chain of prayer. What else could I hold on to? I had nothing else. So I went with it. Today, I'm happily remarried. My career is going up and up. Everything around me is just good. And the main thing was, when I would go back to when I was in the market, the gentleman who actually came up to and gave me that newspaper, he probably wouldn't remember now, was Mr. Effie, that actually invited me. I've never regretted that day.
This is an encouragement for us to continue doing what we do, to put smiles on as many people's faces as we can. Because what we do, it's really a priceless gift that we can give to people, and the joy is to see them here with us.
Chris Brown relied on his faith, and he overcame the endless state of bereavement. Dear viewer, listen to me now, because what I'm going to disclose here to you is something really, really important, and it will certainly make a difference to your future. There is no pain that faith cannot overcome. There is no big deal or no big problem that is too big for faith. Faith overcomes anything. It's a treasure. Faith is a treasure, and you know what? This treasure is for free. It's all available to whoever humbles themselves. You can have this type of faith if you like. All you've got to do is to keep watching this show, learn and practice what has been taught here, and take a course of action. And I'm pretty sure that better days will come. Well, we will go to a break now, but after the break, we are going to be talking to Joseph Ife, who happens to be our live guest of tonight's show. Joseph has a thrilling, interesting story to share with you. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show, and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show.
Do the maths. Changing your life is not as simple as changing your hairstyle, your shirt, or rearranging the furniture in your living room. You're talking about years of deep-rooted habits, behaviours and problems that are not going to change overnight. Many may say, think positively, but the trouble with that is that you can't do or change anything with just thoughts. But add action into the equation and the outcome can be different. Let's do the maths. Positive thinking plus action equals a change. Whatever it is, if the change is significant, if it's worthwhile, then it will have to take time, effort and homework from you.
Make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
My Channel TV, featuring a kaleidoscopic daily dose of programming. Stay with us every day and explore politics, economics, science, technology, lifestyle, culture, sports, and much more. We're here to amuse you, to keep you updated, and to keep you company. We're My Channel, your channel on Sky 203.
Welcome back to Find the Answers. If you want, you can give us a call now. The line is open. Our number is 020-7686-6300. If you want to talk to us, we've got a team of advisors that can take your call, will be glad to pray for you, to give you a based biblical advice or biblical based advice where you will be helped. Because God cannot lie in His promises. And if you like, if you say, no, look, Douglas, I don't want to call, but I prefer to send an email. So we got an email address, don't we?
Yes, we do. So the email address is help@findinganswers.tv with any prayer requests you have or any struggles you are going through. Please do not hesitate in contacting us. We're also available on social media. So we're available on Facebook if you search for Finding Answers. If you want to send us a prayer request, you can send us a private message there. We're also on Twitter at @findinganswerstv. We're also on YouTube, so please do subscribe. We deal with all struggles and difficulties you might face, so please do not hesitate in contacting us. Now, what do you think on tonight's topic on human instincts? Do you have a human instinct and do you always follow it? Well, we send Christy out to the streets of London to find out.
It's Christy here on Finding Answers, and tonight's topic is human instincts. Many people follow their gut feeling when making decisions in life. However, can we always rely on it? What about following our reason and rational thinking rather than our hearts? Well, let's see what the public have to say. Can we always rely on our gut instincts?
I think you can, but it's not always necessarily right. When it's a gut instinct, I think that's your initial, is it wrong or is it right? It doesn't always, it's not the whole answer, it just substitutes like part of it.
No, not really. I don't think so anyways. Sometimes when you're insecure, that can just take over and, you can't just assume all the time your gut instinct's not always right, but 50% of the time maybe. Yeah, probably 50% of the time it's right.
I think so, yeah. I've always tried to remember myself, just in your heart, to go with your heart, because your brain might get confusing sometimes. So I go with what's in my gut, yeah. I think it's right to go with your gut still. If you feel that, yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think your gut, your instincts is the first thing that come to you when you're facing a problem. But you always have to think harder on the problem and how to solve it than to act.
So interesting opinions from the people on the streets of London. But right here now in studio, we have our special guest Joseph Iffy and how he overcame difficulties in his life.
It's pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Good evening, Joseph. How are you?
Pastor. Very well.
Thanks for being here on the show. It's always a pleasure to receive you here. Joseph, we are talking about human instincts. Can one really rely on the gut feelings? What do you think?
I think that's an interesting subject, actually. I think that relying on your gut instincts doesn't always help, because every situation that you go through is different, and every situation that you go through requires a different decision. So I think that one of the best ways in order to kind of make your decisions is to do the opposite and just go with rational thinking.
Okay. So, but why are you saying that? Have you had an experience in life to come to this conclusion?
Yeah, definitely. I would say the reason why my life was very inconsistent at times was because I would always go with my gut feeling and how I felt, as opposed to what was really right at that moment in time. So yeah, I can definitely say that that I had this experience where using my gut feeling created delays within my life.
So let's talk about it. Where did your story start?
So yeah, childhood. To be honest, my childhood was actually very good. Had a great childhood. It was only when I started to grow up. My parents were very good at hiding problems from me. So I didn't know that my parents had separated. And yeah, I didn't know that my parents had separated. But they were in the house together and it looked like a happy family. I always got what I wanted. I always had the best. I always had better than all the other kids in school. And for me, everything was okay. So when I started to go to secondary school, that's when certain problems started to arise. I started being amongst friends that weren't really good for me. And I started to consult more in my friends than I would of my parents. Because when I started to grow up and mature, I started to see that, oh wait, my parents are not actually as close as I thought they were. And then I realized that they weren't actually together.
So it was a self-discovery?
It was, yes, a self-discovery. It was quite a harsh one actually, because for a long time, it was going on for a long time where I just thought that my family was perfect. And I could see slight mistakes, but when I went to secondary school and I was able to think more for myself, then I saw a lot of cracks in my family, a lot of big mistakes in my family that just made things look really ugly.
Okay, and when you've mentioned that your parents, you know, they always provided, they always gave you everything. I think that you've mentioned to me once that your parents did really have a good financial condition, didn't they?
Yeah. My parents were very, very comfortable, financially speaking. So, in regards to things being in the house, it was always there.
Money wasn't a problem.
Money wasn't the issue for my parents at all. They always looked after me.
Okay, when growing up, when you became a teenager or a young adult, that kind of lifestyle, clubbing and going out with friends, partying, did you get involved in this type of environment?
Yeah, for me, no, not at all. My parents, for me, offered something better. So, for example, if my friends would ask me, do you want to go out and do this? My dad would say, do you want to go to the seaside, or do you want to go to Paris, or do you want to do that? And for me, that was a lot more exciting than going out with my friends. So that's why I said my parents were very good at just kind of shielding me from bad things, but it got to a certain point where they couldn't shield me any longer.
Mm-hmm. That means, in terms of financial resources, the money was there.
Mm-hmm.
But when it would come to affection and relationship, togetherness, spending time together, they weren't as good as.
Yeah. So they weren't. If I can say, it wasn't balanced in the way they would look after me and my sisters. So a lot of the times it was like, okay, we're going to get you this, and this item or this thing should take care of all of the other aspects of the concept of looking after a child, for example. So I mean, I would be very happy, but sometimes I didn't want a gift, or I didn't want to eat something. I just wanted to spend as much time as possible with my family. And that was it. Sometimes that was the only thing that made me happy. And as I grew up, when I was a child, I had that. But when I was growing up, that was becoming more distant.
Did you ever get involved with drugs, drinking,
no, never.
Smoking?
Never. No, never.
Okay, because you see, I'm asking you these questions because your story is really interesting. Because it's kind of, in the society that we live today, it's quite unusual. Because you see, you are a young man that never experienced drugs, alcohol, or you never really you haven't been to a financial sort of struggle. I mean, on the very opposite, you always had everything that that money could buy. You didn't try drugs, alcohol. Nevertheless, that didn't keep you away from trouble, did it?
No, not at all. Secondary school. That's where I can say my life took, if I can say, did a U-turn.
Okay.
And yeah, and similar to a lot of people's cases, my friend showed me a video of a pornographic video. Now, when I first saw that, I was very, very confused because I had never seen anything of that nature before. My parents wouldn't even allow me to watch anything that had kissing or hugging on TV. They were very strict with that. So when I saw that, I was very confused, but it made me extremely curious about what that thing was. So I decided to, you know, go in my own time and start to research about different things, and I started to come across websites that were not really good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I started to watch pornography, and that's how my mind and my mentality started to change. I wasn't that innocent young boy anymore. I was someone who was thinking differently as opposed to how I used to think when I was younger.
And then it came to a point where you got hooked into it.
Yeah, so in the beginning I was enjoying it. It was like some sort of awkward buzz. And then it got to a point where I wasn't enjoying it anymore because I felt like I needed to do it. So I felt like it was controlling.
Mm-hmm.
So I always like to relate it to the same sensation you would have when needing to go to the toilet, that urge to use the toilet. I had that same kind of sensation, desire to watch pornography, and that's when I stopped enjoying it and it became an addiction.
It became a habit.
Yeah, a very bad habit.
Yes, we are going to continue with your story, Joseph, which I believe is going to help a lot of the viewers. Well, we'll go to a break, but we'll be back soon.
So, maybe you're thinking about making some big changes or setting some ambitious goals for yourself. Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds or read through the Bible. Maybe you want to run a marathon or repair a broken relationship. Whatever your big goal is, the temptation is to expect to go straight from here to here, or from here to here. The reality is, there are a lot of small steps between big decisions and big results. Challenges and obstacles await. At some point, you might even want to quit. But stand firm. Don't be disappointed with slow progress. Don't be overwhelmed by the destination. Rather, focus on what you can do today. Skip dessert. Read a chapter. Go for a run. Make a phone call. The more difficult the journey, the more rewarding the destination. And it can all start today with just one small step.
The pursuit of happiness. What will make you happy? Success? Fame? New shoes? Financial security? Love? Education? Independence? Family? Sometimes in the pursuit of things we think will bring us happiness, sometimes we fail to see that we aren't happy, or we never find it. We live in a world of people. Rather than pursue things to make you happy, what if we all worked to make each other happy? Wouldn't we all be happier?
Welcome back to Find the Answers. Tonight we are talking about relying on human instincts or gut feelings, as you prefer. Should we rely on those? Can we trust on them? I'm talking here to Joseph, which is our guest, our live guest of tonight's show. And Joseph claimed, or Joseph said it here himself, that he didn't really have a good experience with following his gut feelings. And he's explaining why. Joseph, who was a man, when a child, he had practically everything that money could buy. His parents were financially stable, could give him a good life. Joseph never got involved with drugs, alcohol. So what were the odds, or what was the likelihood that Joseph would turn out to become a porn addict? What was the likelihood that Joseph would become a violent and an aggressive person, as he's about to disclose? Because one of his problems was anger, uncontrolled anger. And this shows us a big lesson. You see, despite one having a good education, good upbringing, a good example from the parents, all this is not sufficient, my friend. A lot of parents are extremely concerned about, not fighting in front of the children. They are extremely strict on the children's, on what they watch on telly. And indeed, that's the right thing to do. But make no mistake, dear parent, these things alone will not cause your children to be the right children. Because they are not always at home. They go to school, they go to work. And when they leave your house, they go to a completely different environment. And then, who's safe? No one is safe. Yeah. Only faith can bring safety to our children, to our country, to our future. So you became a porn addict.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Was it really bad?
Yeah, it was really bad because I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And usually people who are addicted to something or someone, usually their behavior and attitudes are usually stemmed by things that are not within their control. So so I was no longer in control of how I was watching pornography.
So it became an obsession?
Yeah, an obsession for it, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, which later led to me being very angry, because what pornography does is it makes a person very frustrated, because I was young at that time and I wasn't practicing what I saw or what I was watching. So that led me to become very frustrated as a person, and then led me to be very angry. So when I wasn't watching pornography, I would snap a lot. I'll snap at my sisters. I'll beat them up a lot for the smallest of things, the tiniest of things.
So hold on, this is really important. So you're saying, you're not here, claiming anything, but you're saying out of your life experience that your addiction to pornography caused you to have a very short fuse.
Yeah.
And to be excessively angry.
Uh-huh. Mm. Yeah, so it would just get to the point where I wasn't able to. My thought process wasn't the same again in regards to how I would treat my sisters and even some friends at school. I was just very angry, and I was never this angry person, because it's not a common trait in my family for a person to be angry. Everyone's usually quite calm and collective. So.
And what did this anger lead you to do?
It led me to do very silly things. So there'll be many times I'll be with my friends, and out of the blue we would just say, should we go and just beat someone up randomly? Just go on the street and start fighting people.
Hold on, you'd go on the streets.
Yeah.
Let me see, that guy there, you, and then you start beating.
Literally. And these weren't, if I can say, they weren't your typical people who were doing it. Like, so they weren't people who, for example, came from dysfunctional homes, but we all did the same thing. And it's crazy because we all was just lost and addicted to pornography and all of that. And we were all very angry people. Sometimes it sounds funny, but that was what was really happening. And sometimes literally we would go on the street, look for trouble, and just start to fight people who we don't know. And that would happen quite often. And that's kind of how my anger really reached to its peak.
Your anger. Okay, when you start beating people, you also mentioned that you used to beat your sisters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was something really bad because that's my family.
Yeah.
That's my family. That's people who I grew up with, people who have helped me.
After you have beaten people, how would you feel when you were alone in your room?
Yeah.
Would you be proud of it?
No. It's funny because I didn't know where the anger was coming from, but I knew why I was angry. So, I would feel very, very low. Whenever I had the same thing. Whenever I would finish watching pornography, or I would have a fight with somebody, or I would just burst out, in anger or whatever. Right after, there'll be a rush of kind of some sort of kind of depressed feeling. So I would feel very, very, very low, but extremely low about myself.
What was the lowest point of your life? Tell me of a moment that you did something really, really crazy.
Yeah, I think there was one time I was with my friends, and it was a Friday night, and we had nothing to do, and my parents weren't home I don't know why they weren't home, but they weren't home, and then we walked out, and then we saw someone, and we hit somebody randomly, but we hit this person really, really bad, and when I went back home, I can't actually remember the walk back home, but I can remember when I sat down in my room and I said to myself, this isn't me. This isn't who I am. This is someone else. Mm-hmm. I don't recall myself ever being like this. So who is this?
You didn't have an identity.
Exactly. Yeah. I felt like I lost my individuality. I didn't know who I was. So I just felt lost.
In other words, as long as you kept on relying on and following your gut feelings, you're causing a harm to yourself and you're harming other people.
Yes, and it really was gut feeling, because every time I would do something silly, I had some moments to think about what I was doing. But because I decided to go with how I felt as opposed to what was really right.
Yeah, that's the battle that goes on our mind every single day, isn't it?
All the time.
Between this endless battle between our rationality, our rational thinking, and our emotions. For instance, it's a choice, really. Someone does something to you to upset you. Someone really steps on your toes. Your emotions will tell you what? Retaliate. Payback. Do it. Well, this person deserves, to suffer a retaliation. That's what emotions say. Your rational thinking will say, no, leave it. Leave it. Forgive. Perhaps the person has had a stressful day. This person is not well. Perhaps the person has just received, bad news from that someone in the family has a terminal illness. Understand, that's what our rational thinking says. Emotions, when you are, you're looking for a partner for life, emotions will say to you, oh, he's so cute, so good looking. Okay, you know what? because I fall in love with him. I like him so much, his muscles, his blue eyes, his English accent. Oh my God, I like this guy. I'll go for him. But then your rational thinking thinks, hold on. He says he loves me. But every now and then, I see him flirting with other women. He says he loves me, but if I say something here, he tells me to shut up in front of my friends. He embarrasses me. What kind of love is this? You see the conflict? And then you make a decision. The decision that you make, of course, will make your future. Future, Joseph, is made of decisions, isn't it? And up to that moment, you are suffering because you are making poor decisions. Until the moment that the penny dropped and you decided to use your rational thinking and put it above your gut feelings. That's when your life changed. Is that correct?
Indeed.
How did your life change?
So, funny enough, my mother was watching a program just like this.
Okay.
She was flicking through different channels, ironically, and she just happened to come across this program. And and she found out more information about the program. And then she invited me to speak to the counselors, and that's kind of how things started to progress. One of the hardest things for me was letting out the truth that was within me, because I was used to kind of shutting things off, because I grew up thinking everything was okay and perfect. So I mean, me admitting to problems was a very difficult thing to me. So that's one of the first steps that I took in order to kind of establish my faith.
Meaning you needed to break yourself down. You need to be humble.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I had to humble myself a lot. It was very, very difficult. It wasn't easy at all, but I had to do it in order to see my life moving forward. And not even necessarily just moving forward, but I had to be happy with who I am. I had to have the strength to let go of the pornography, know how to overcome my anger. So I had to learn that, no, I don't need to vent out my anger by hurting someone or hurting myself. All I have to do is just think about the consequences and think of how I can deal with the different situations that come in front of me.
So did faith help you?
Faith helped me a lot. It helped me to outsmart my problems as well as remove the problems. So I was able to counterattack those problems, because even when I started to use my faith, those problems didn't necessarily stop, but I was able to overcome them and counterattack them.
How is your life today?
My life is great. I'm in a position now where a few years ago I would have never thought or even imagined I'll be in a position like this. I will say, apart from everything else, the inner happiness in me is, I can't really explain it.
You have peace today?
Peace, happiness. My family are a lot closer than what they used to be. We found ways of how we can be closer as a family, as opposed to bringing things to make us closer. Now we are what is close.
So you are happy today?
Yes.
No more pornography, no more anger.
Yeah.
A new man.
A new man completely.
Congratulations, Joseph. And the same can happen to all those who use this faith. Let's go to a break now and prepare your glass of water, because right after the break, we are going to be praying together.
Where DKW, a different kind of woman. So I want to find out if you might have dyslexia.
My memory's not too good today.
And it's almost like you have to be this superwoman.
Years and years ago when I watched Titanic, and obviously My Heart Will Go On came on, and it just brought me back to that time.
And I was with 4 other sisters. Lord have mercy. So you know how they were. You're not gonna go over there and say nothing.
Come on, a little closer now, and let me know that you're mine. Woo!
It's gonna be your turn to do your macaroons. No competition.
We're here at Britain's Top Designer 2015.
This is DKW. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Hi everyone, I'm James.
And I am Helena.
Join us here every Saturday at 3 p.m. for Love Talk,
the show that teaches you how to love intelligently.
On my channel Sky 203.
See you there.
Love Talk on my channel Sky 203 every Saturday 3 p.m.
Follow my channel's updates on Facebook. Like your favorite videos and see pictures of your favorite artists. Access our Twitter at MyChannelUK and get to know what's on with My Channel. Visit tvmychannel.com and be connected to our world. My Channel, a whole new world of entertainment.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. You can still give us a go. The lines are open. The number is 02076866300, or you can send an email to help@findinganswers.tv. And once we receive your email in our inbox, we'll be glad to answer it and give you, a biblical-based advice. And there are advisors right now who are ready to take your call and offer you a prayer over the phone if you like. If that will help you feel better, why not call to receive a prayer? Well, talking about prayer, we will prepare now ourselves for the prayer. But just before we go to the prayer moment, I would like you to watch one more story, one more testimony of this young gentleman called Ahmed, who's been through difficult moments in his life, but through the power of faith, he is an overcomer.
Before I made a change in my life, I was a person, I always wanted to please people, but this was a part of me that people didn't even notice within myself. In school and in general, a lot of people, especially guys, if you have a girl or you're doing stuff with multiple girls, you're seen as macho, or you're seen as, nah, he's up there. So this is what we started to do. So there was a group of us, and we used to have competitions with each other. Like, okay, you need to get this girl, if you can get this girl, that girl. And over time, I started to, get up there. I started to do stuff with girls. Like, I started to see girls as objects. Like, I would have a list of different girls. It was like a competition. It was a game. It wasn't serious. It's like I was just playing games with different girls, and this led to me not valuing myself and also valuing women as well. I started to lose myself. I started to lose who I was. I didn't know who I was as a person because I was trying to fit into an image. I wanted to be someone that everyone can see, and I had a void inside of me. It got to a point where someone was speaking, and what they were saying was completely different to what I always used to hear people say to me. And it was just realness. It was just speaking the truth. And it actually made me sit down for the first time ever, to actually sit down and think about my life. Okay, Ahmed, where are you going? And it was then that I started to realize that, okay, although I'm doing so many things, like, I'm lost within myself. So that made me wake up, like, okay, like, I need to make a change, because who am I trying to be? Like, I can't keep doing this. I need to eventually face myself and start to realize that I need to be different. So for me, that was one of the deepest moments, because it made me realize, okay, you are this, like you're not who you portray yourself to be in front of others. Now I know who I am. Like, I don't need no one to tell me to do this or do that. I don't need to get ratings from this person or that person. It's like I'm comfortable with who I am as a person now. And it's like I have this peace inside of me. It's not me trying to fill a void or always wanting to have material things or always wanting to please people by doing stuff for girls or prove a point. It's like I'm comfortable with who I am now. Like, I know who I am as a person. So I would say there's been a total transformation in my life.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer for your health and general well-being, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
God and Savior, I come to you with a humble spirit. And I pray, God, that you may open the understanding of this viewer who's watching me now and cause them to understand that you are not religion. You are not an invention, a myth, a fairy tale. Oh God, a lot of people have heard of God. In this modern society that we live today, everyone has heard the name God, God, God. But people hardly know you. People hardly know what you are capable of. There are people now who are suffering unnecessarily, Lord, because if they only gave you a chance to prove yourself, if they only gave you a chance to change and transform their lives completely. And I know, God, that among many viewers who watch me now, there are those who are thirsty and hungry for a change. And these people who are hungry and thirsty for a change, Lord, when they drink a bit of this water that they are sanctified now with me through prayer, let this water give them energy and strength and wisdom so that they can take a course of action as Joseph did that will certainly change their lives. I pray, Lord, strengthen the weak, uplift those who've been discouraged by the difficult moments of life. I pray in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. And if you believe, you may say Amen, and you may now drink from the water. Believe you are blessed. Keep your faith. Everything's going to be all right. Okay? That's it for tonight. May God bless you. Have a wonderful and lovely night.